Don't Let Go is a 2019 horror-ish sci-fi family drama crime procedural film that came out and instantly bombed a couple weeks ago. This is day 38 of 100 Days of Horror, and because this movie was promoted as a horror film in many ways, and they even sent stuff out to horror sites to come review it and watch the pre-screener for it, we're gonna go and count it as a part of 100 Days of Horror. 100 Days of Horror, for those of you who might have been just searching for this movie in particular because it's a new movie, is us here at citygeek.com watching 100 horror films we haven't seen in the days leading up to Halloween and posting our results and reviews and our thoughts and ideas. You can follow the link down below that goes right there, and then there's a Facebook group where other people are posting what they're watching, and I'm pushing that onto the main page too. So you can still join us. It's 53 days in as I'm doing this recording for the day 38 of the actual reviews. So it's never too late to join. So always watch more horror movies, whether it's 100 movies before Halloween or just simply across the board. Now, don't let go. Let go of it. This is not a good movie by any stretch of the imagination. When you have, I'm going to point out before I get into this, there is a review, a written review on the webpage that I've written that you can go over to that. I can't link to the webpage on this, but go to citygeek.com and you can find the review posted about a day after the movie actually came out. I'm doing this about 2 weeks later, so a lot of everything might have slipped out just a little bit. So if you want a more written version, you get that there. Don't Let Go was written and directed by Jake Estes, and his biggest contribution before this was Rings, the really shitty third movie in the American Ring versions. Now at least the movie is better than that. You got better performances and you get better everything else. That movie was just trash. This is more of a frustrating missed opportunity because you have an idea here. What the idea basically set up is that David Oyelowo is a cop in LA, and he has a great connection with his niece, played by Storm Reid from Wrinkle in Time, which is a movie I didn't like, but she was fine in it. She's the daughter of Brian Tyree Henry, who you've seen in all sorts of things or heard, because he's Spider-Man Into Spider-Verse, the best movie of last year. Recently, like with the Beale Street and bunch of stuff that's kind of slipping out of my head right now because I'm thinking about Don't Let Go. He might be in trouble with some drug people. They think that he did that in the past. Think he might be doing that again. But then unfortunately, Storm Reid Henry and the mom character doesn't really get too much to do in the movie. They all get killed. And so of course Oyelowo's distraught, and sometime later, about 2 weeks later, though it's not really clear in the movie itself with the timeline, he starts getting calls from his dead niece. Now she's not a ghost calling, this isn't like one missed call or Rings, but she is actually calling from 2 weeks ago. This doesn't explain how this works, and I'm fine with that. That would have been too much of a distraction to go into the whys of things. This could be like the Twilight Zone where it just does, and that's all that matters. So it's like frequency in this way. So you got her talking to him in the future while she's talking to him in his past, and he realizes that now he can use her to solve her murder and maybe prevent her murder and her family from being killed as well. That's it. It's a really good premise. It's done in frequency. It's probably been done in various books. It's a very bookish premise. But everything else probably used it a lot better because this feels like it thinks it's the only movie to do this. So it leans on that and leans on that only. It's a very basic take on it. The important scene that really moves the story forward takes place a good hour and 5 minutes in the movie, an hour 40-minute movie, which they talk, you see in the trailer for the one time I saw the trailer, in which he just lays it out. This is what's happening. This is what we need to do to work together. And it happens so far in the movie that at this point we can only move into the climax to make things move through really quickly when everything else, we've all got to there a long time ago. We understand the idea, we understand where this is going, but the movie itself plods its way to there instead of kind of leading into the concept and figure out what many cool things you can do with this. And they hint at it. There's a Groundhog Day element or a Happy Death Day element at one point between somebody, and that could have been explored, and that could have made something really cool. Like when after the movie was over, the six of us who watched it, we all thought of different ways that it could have worked. This thing could have been done to have this really cool scene, or I thought this was where we were heading, but no, that could have been really clever, but no, we just kind of pulled back to the very basic setup of that. So it's not taking any risks for this concept. It's a risky concept to start with, but they don't take that extra level of like, what what could be interesting to get here. Instead, you get the audience thinking, we know where this is going. Could you please do something more interesting? So it's frustrating in that way, because if the people watching the movie are writing a better movie than the one that's coming out, that's an issue. Of course, you shouldn't review the movies that you could have got. You review the movie you did get. So in this case, it's structured is all wrong. You know, I don't want to think, oh, that other movie I was watching in my head was better. But it's distracting, because that's what you want. That's what you're expecting. Don't bring up a concept and then don't run with it. The mystery of who did the murders is incredibly obvious. We all thought, as soon as the particular character showed up, everyone's like, I saw like the people in the audience, people in my group being like, ah. You kind of get that reaction from everyone there. But the movie doesn't realize how obvious that is so when it goes into it and all the explanations start coming out, it gets really silly, because the way the exposition so badly performed, that it's distracting and everyone's laughing, and you just lost the audience. It just became laughter after boringness for I don't know. It's kind of weird to say, because it was boring and then it was hilarious. And I don't want a movie to fail. I don't want a movie just to fall flat on its face, but it did, and it kind of did move along pretty decently for the first hour. Like I said, it was wasting its own premise, but it's decently well performed, and the writing was really awkward and bad. But Oyelowo is a great actor. Storm Reid is a great actress. Everyone involved was solid, besides one particular character. Alfred Molina shows up, and he's kind of a wax, so maybe more than one was bad. But our main group were good. But it's such an obvious and frustrating movie that anyone watching it is wanting something different and expecting something different. And that's not to say that something like Drive, where you came in wanting this and you're getting this, you should be mad. But it's what you can see where the better movie is. And that's what's distracting and frustrating, because it could have been better with someone else looking at the script and saying, oh, well, what about this, or what about this? Could have made that work. Instead, we just get this kind of thing that's kind of flops out. And that's why we sit at the end of August. This is like an empty screening, and usually screenings have lines out the door. And here, like, they barely had enough to fill like half the audience, because there wasn't any push for it, and there wasn't any push in the movie. And it kind of feels like just dump it out and call it a day and move on. So I'm gonna recommend not watching this movie so go see it. It's, if you haven't seen it already, the review posted for that as I'm doing this earlier today, and that's more of an iffy movie, but it's definitely a much better movie than this. There's so many better things to go see than Don't Let Go. So I'm gonna give that, I think I gave it a D+ when I wrote the review, somewhere around there. Check out the review if you want a more succinct version of this same here. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you next time for cdgeek.com, and stay geeky.